Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of your Proving Grounds broadcast brought to you by Verizon. I will be your host for the day. You can call me Kangas, and I'm joined for this pre-show with the one and only Cubby, who will also be the color commentator throughout the day. A lot of Proving Grounds games ahead of us today, Cubby. This is the play-in still, where 4 teams are battling out today to see who can continue on into Proving Grounds into the double elim bracket. So one best of 3 stands in front of all 4 teams ahead of us. Lives on the line, a lot of pressure. But how you doing, man? How you feeling about the show so far?
I'm great. I think that for some of these amateur teams, we have people that just making it here a huge accomplishment. Thinking especially of, Maryville secondary team that fell yesterday. Thinking today of Wildcard Aces. We're going to see them first. They have a 16, 17-year-old. This is their first split competing in Proving Grounds. Making it here is a huge achievement. But I think we also have a second matchup today that I know a lot of people are excited for TSM Academy versus Maryville. So I think we kind of get the best of both worlds. And hey, part of Proving Grounds, it is a do or die best of 3. You never know what's going to happen. So we got to play the games. Excited to see how those scores fall out today.
Just for the play-ins today, of course. If they can win this best of 3, they move on into the double elim bracket. But before we get too far into the weeds of Proving Grounds itself, we want to catch everybody up because Champs Queue is going on again right now, and we already have some early leads. Of course, we'll be keeping track of the Academy players that are performing throughout Champs Queue, and already I've seen a lot of Cloud9 there, and as well a lot of CLG, Cubby.
I also appreciate the amateur shout out. Yukino, someone, the sub jungler for no team, also very young, like Griffin, the jungler that starts on that roster, is someone that I think should be playing in Proving Grounds as a starter this upcoming year. So I know it's kind of fun to see early Champs Queue. And hey, shout out to Malice, really grinding it out. I know that he had a huge first day, and hey, second on the ladder. That's not too bad.
Right behind Core JJ, who is currently first right now. But let's take a look at the games that we have ahead of us, and more importantly, the bracket of the whole tournament. Because if you're confused, if you're turning into LCS and you're like, what is going on? This is Proving Grounds, the culmination of an entire split of Academy and Amateur, all competing, and now we get some crossover where the top 10 from each have an opportunity to compete against each other. Right now, we're on the far left of the screen. This is the play-ins. Single elim best of 3 here. We have 4 Academy teams and 4 amateur teams, all the bottom of the 10 respectively, that have to compete here to make it into the double elim bracket that starts in that big clump. We see all 16 teams lined up. So we'll have FlyQuest Academy, Wildcard Aces, and then Maryville University versus TSM Academy. But like you said, Cubby, all the Academy teams looked exceptional yesterday.
And I think that was huge, especially for Evil Geniuses and Hunter Thieves. Both of those Academy squads, these were squads that we have high expectations for. I know the Oracle's Elixir Discord, someone that is really passionate about Academy, including Tim himself. They filled out a preseason prediction bracket, or I shouldn't say bracket, but like rankings. And everyone in that Discord, the average, both had EG and 100 Thieves in the top 5. A lot of that was based on their success with talent in the first place. But I think overall, they've had a little bit of a disappointing split. But I think that, with the stakes raised, having 2-0s that aren't only 2-0s, but also in dominant form, that can give those teams a lot of confidence moving into the upcoming rounds of Proving Grounds. And so I was really excited to see them step up to the challenge and hoping that our 2 Academy teams can do the same today.
And that's the big question, because today, again, the Academy teams we're seeing, that second match in particular, Maryville versus TSM Academy, that's one that we're expecting to be very close. But, of course, to lead us into that, we did have, I don't know if we have a name for this person. It was just some random Maryville stan called in and wanted to give his thoughts on the match. So I guess let's hear from the Maryville fan out there.
Maryville stan 157. Checking in here. Absolutely nothing to do with the broadcast whatsoever. No affiliation. Just a Maryville stan. Maryville, you're gonna win today, all right? You got the Niles. You got the odd orange combo. The synergy on point. Did you see those flexes in the gym? Oh my god. It's gonna be a dub. They're gonna take it to the main stage. It's gonna be an easy 2-0 victory. And then they're gonna take all of Proving Grounds. Let's go, Maryville.
All right, I hadn't actually seen that one ahead of the show, so that was that was new for me also. Do you have faith, Cubby? Are you with the Maryville stan?
I mean, it depends on what you think. He mentioned gym flexes in there. I feel like that's your, expertise. You might have some more knowledge in that area.
this is my problem, is that it doesn't matter how much stronger I get in the gym, I never get better at League of Legends. So I don't know if there's actually a correlation right there. But regardless, awesome to see that the fans are coming in for Maryville. But outside of fans, we also got to hear from some of the players, Cubby. I know you got a chance to talk with some of them and get a little Proving Ground smack talk rolling. So let's take a look.
After the TSM A match in the Gulag, we end up facing the second place Academy team, Maryville. And everybody knows how these goes. Last time we faced TL and C9, and we beat them 2-0, and we faced C9 again, so I'm coming back for round 2 copy.
The only thing I'm looking forward to PG is figuring out who comes second.
I think a good amount of the Academy teams have been avoiding scrimming us, and all of them use the excuse as, oh, the ping, you know, but I think they're simply just scared of scrimming us.
I just can't wait to destroy Golden Guardians.
I mean, Concept's just, you know, I did Wukong before him, and now I did Urgot before him. Like, how many more things is Concept gonna bite off Alorum?
To it, you know, I think last PGG I would have gone top 6, but you've missed a little too many Orianna ultis and Syndra stuns, so. And now that having Sandy, definitely won't happen. But you've missed a little too many Orianna ultis and Syndra stuns, so. And now that having Sandy, definitely won't happen.
Yeah, anything you want to say to fan?
Not really. Feel like you played well in PG. Ben and Ray, I know we used to be teammates, but we all know what happens when we face each other.
Fnatic is gone! Maryville are looking to put an end to the game, and they will do just that!
Hey, this is Diamond from FlyQuest Academy. Honestly, Proving Grounds is great. I get to play against the people that have been hitting me in Champions Queue lately, so wherever is on my path, from now on, the Wildcard Aces, I honestly, I don't know. Like... Shoutouts
to APA for being so wholesome that he like scaled back the smack talk. Also, I love hearing from Diamond in there. Dokla too. That was savage. I'm just looking forward to see who takes second place.
You know, I appreciate it. I think a part of this, you know, it's Academy versus Amateur. It's fun to get some banners, some trash talk in there. And hey, I appreciate all the guys kind of stepping in and making sure they get some fun words in. My favorite personally was Leo. Just the smile afterwards. Like, I just want to destroy Golden Guardians. That was the most devious one for me. I'd be most scared of Leo after that.
He also had the worst lighting in the background. For once, we had a player overblown.
Don't worry about it.
Too much lighting for once with a pro player. But regardless, also to get some of the players on screen with us. But Cubby, let's bring our attention now forward to take a look at the schedule of the day. If anybody missed earlier on in the show, we have 2 best-of-3 series ahead of us, both of which are single elimination. We have FlyQuest Academy versus Wildcard Aces coming in from the amateur scene, and then TSM Academy versus Maryville University. Of course, one of the kings of collegiate. They aren't the reigning champs, but they are usually towards that top, making finals 3 years in a row. Ain't too bad. And that one is looking pretty spicy there. So that's the action that we have ahead of us today. Cubby, do you want to lay any predictions in? Are you leaning Academy way, leaning amateur way today? How you feeling?
You know, in past years, you know, coming from the amateur broadcast, usually I'd kind of punch up for amateur and be rooting for them.
Sure.
I hope they put on a good showing today, but I really feel like FlyQuest, we're leveling up on the back half. I think the Wildcard Aces, the fact that they are here is a massive achievement, and they've already exceeded expectations and more. So I heavily favor FlyQuest. I honestly think the second series could go any which way. I have faith that TSM shows the form they did in Week 8 and can hold strong against what is a killing early game from Maryville. They're not afraid to go for plays, go for invades. They play this game fast, and if TSM aren't ready for that, Maryville could easily catch them off guard. So will be very interesting.
I just tweeted a bet that I would dye my beard red if Maryville take a game. So, yeah, I'm hoping that TSM can win one for Academy. But a reminder to follow a certain Twitter account. I know if you're tuning into LCS broadcasts, you might not be all caught up to speed on what's going on in the Academy and amateur scene. So if you want the Spark Notes version, follow Twitter at Path to LCS. So that way you can actually catch up to everything that's going on. We got standings, we got schedules, we got content from teams and ourselves that we put out to hype up these players and try and highlight them as best as we can, and also some pretty cursed content as well, I must say. I will take full responsibility for forcing Austin to tweet those ones out. But with that being said, Cubby, we are getting ready to hop into the games today, so we're going to send it to a short break before we're back with series number 1 of FlyQuest Academy versus Wildcard Aces. Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we are here for our first series of the day between FlyQuest Academy and Wildcard Aces. A reminder for anybody who, again, is just tuning into LCS, FlyQuest Academy are 8th seed coming in from the Academy scene. Wildcard Aces in the 9th seed position, so that's why these two teams faced off against each other. And to bring us all the action, again, I'm your host, but now we're welcoming Jolly to the cast, who will be our play-by-play caster for the day. Jolly, awesome to have you on the show. How you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling good. It's beautiful outside, but there's nowhere I would rather be than here with the blinds closed in front of my computer to watch some Proving Grounds action.
Well, we'd love to have you as well. The only representative on this desk, standing up for amateur, as you were casting a lot of the Proving Ground series leading into this, all the qualifiers. So I'm happy to have your insight into some of these teams because, again, we are looking at this one in particular, FlyQuest Academy, on an upswing here, Cubby. When we looked at the regular season, how things ended, it looked like FlyQuest were bringing things together towards the end of the spring split.
Yeah, I know that catching up before the games with Philip, he felt the same way. He's like, we ended 8th, but I feel like we can take games off anyone in the Academy League. And I know that him specifically, he's really looking forward to Proving Grounds because, of course, last year with FlyQuest, he stepped in later. He called himself, he's like, I wasn't the best player still like last split. He feels like he's learned a lot. And him and the rest of FlyQuest, I think, are really excited to show what they have picked up, what they have learned throughout this Academy split, because even though they are in 8th place, keep in mind, that's a rookie mid-jungle duo, and we've seen them improving drastically throughout the span of the 8 weeks that we had Academy. So I'm hoping that continues moving into Proving Grounds and headed into today.
And now, Jolly, I'm going to give this next team to you as the one that's been casting games leading into this event, Wildcard Aces. For anybody out there watching on the LCS channel who's not aware of what this team is, what should they know about them going into the games?
Okay, Wildcard Aces definitely stand out team. I would say that this year so far, spring of 2022, has been a little bit of a struggle for them. They're towards the bottom of the pack here. Of course, we talked about the 9th seed bringing this in, but they have a lot of experience. Jeremy and Pacus in particular are a fantastic duo. Toasty has been absolutely popping off and is one of these solo players that you can kind of just let reign supreme in the mid lane. You don't have to worry about consistently focusing jungle on that laning phase. And so, being able to focus on Zamundo in particular for this matchup is definitely going to be something the Wildcard is looking forward to.
And Cubby, you mentioned something earlier. How old is Toasty? As we actually take a look at some of his plays, this kid's young, right? So
Toasty, he's 16, and he just turned 16 2 months ago. This is his very first split playing competitively. And, credit to Wildcard. Both Toasty and Rapid, they were part of some of their development squads in last year, 2021. They are on their secondary team, Wildcard Aces. You would have saw their main team, Wildcard Gaming, yesterday, as they did drop in their series. But this is a huge win for Wildcard and for a lot of these players. I know that while they might be towards the bottom of the standings, when we look at their experience, the expectations this team had heading into the circuit qualifiers, they have heavily outperformed. And the fact that they are here, I know Toasty specifically, talking with him beforehand, was like, I'm just excited to show that, I can compete at this level, because this is something that Toasty wants to do moving forward. And I know specifically, given how young he is and given the good play that we've seen out of Toasty, he specifically has been the standout, as Jolly highlighted heading in.
What is that first stat, Jolly?
I get 7. Are you... when I was 7, I was not doing anything like playing League of Legends.
I was playing Zoo Tycoon.
I'm pretty sure Neopets was maybe that was the train I was riding on. I was not at all doing something like let me pick up a MOBA. So, 9 years under his belt here for Toasty having played League of Legends, and it really goes to show. And that's why I love the amateur scene so much in particular right now, is we're talking about a lot of these new players who are going to be coming through the cracks, kind of appearing out of nowhere. And will likely be picked up by some of these big orgs later down the road.
And you saw on that player card, 0 scouting grounds. This is 0 attendances so far in Proving Grounds. This is the first time. And of course, because so early in the career. But let's take a look at somebody a little further along in their career, Cubby, because opposite of the Rift, there is a lot of experience, and a couple members in particular on FlyQuest Academy that carry a lot of experience coming into this Proving Grounds tournament.
And I think that, specifically looking at Diamond, this is really just the experience differential embodied. Because Diamond, he was a sub for GGU and Team Coast way back in 2013. I mean, Diamond has been around for so long, and he has always been this consistent performing support in his role. And I think that this year specifically, Diamond's really had to step up as a leader. He's playing with Yuji, who is this standout solo queue superstar from Mongolia, still, picking up a bit of the language for Spyrax. It's his first split playing in Academy. Yes, he was that mid laner for Maryville actually last year in their collegiate run, but these are players that are still picking up the game, knowing what it means just not only to be play competitively at this level, but also just be a pro, living out that day-to-day lifestyle. And Diamond for this team, he really is the leader. He really is the big voice in comms, is the one that's driving this team forward. And I think that this experience shows. And, just to give you guys a sense of the experience that Diamond has, if I combined all the years that the Wildcard Aces players were just playing in Riot sanctioned events, Diamond is still greater than all 5 of the members for Wildcard Aces. So that really does give you just the sense of, disadvantage that Wildcard Aces has coming in, but also speaks to the fact that Wildcard Aces are here. Keep in mind, in proving on qualifiers, we had LCS affiliate teams, we had collegiate squads, we had ex-pros looking for access to Champs Queue, and then also seeing if they could sneak into this tournament. This team with a 16-year-old mid laner, they made it here. That is a huge achievement for a lot of these players, where it is their first split even trying to qualify for something like Proving Grounds. And now, the pressure's off, right? They get to show their stuff, and we get to see if they can really surprise one of the teams that, while they might be the 8th seed, I still feel like it's one of the stronger teams we have in this event.
What can they bring to FlyQuest Academy? We're about to find out, as I will pass it over to Jolly and Cubby, because we are ready to get into pick and ban for game number 1. So, casters, take it away.
Oh, thank you so much, Kangas. And of course, we will be checking with you as the games go down. This one, I think that we can agree here, Cubby, and you guys kind of talked about it before I hopped in here, that the likelihood of Wildcard being able to take this series is not necessarily incredibly high, given the opposition that we currently have on board. However, they are a standout team, and I would be very surprised if it ends up in a 2-0 sweep to where they really can't show things off, specifically because of the performance, like we were talking about, Toasty in the mid lane as this young player. This is his chance, his opportunity, right, to really make a highlight for himself right here on the LCS channel, and that is a really big deal. So I can't imagine that the pressure is off for him, but that also means that the inspiration behind that, hopefully, is standing tall. We're going to get right into the ban phase. Of course, we can see FlyQuest Academy is on the blue side to start things out. Wildcard Aces on the red.
I know that we've talked a lot about, some of the players, giving some backgrounds to some of the new faces that we have on the LCS stream, but we haven't really gotten into many of the playstyles yet that we're seeing. Yeah. And I think one of the interesting parts is that we are on 12.5B. I think one of the parts of yesterday, we saw a lot of different marksmen coming out. I know Lucian bot was played in Wakaisa. That's changed a lot. What I do know from the data that we do have, FlyQuest, I think, are really good at playing scaling. I think that FlyQuest as a team, one of their greatest strengths is they have a good idea of when to fight and when to trade. And when you're a scaling team and you're able to trade effectively cross-map, even if you're losing out slightly, it's still buying time, decreasing variance, and letting you get to the spot of the game where your team is stronger. And it feels like FlyQuest, with this opener of Hecarim, already going for a little bit of scaling. I know that Hecarim, Yuji specifically, been known as a ganker. He was a Kiana Zed specialist in solo queue. We'll talk more about his solo queue achievements throughout today, but Hecarim was a champion that he really didn't have a lot of experience in. FlyQuest has worked really hard to try and help Yuji pick up, and good to see them first picking that in the game today.
And I am not surprised. I was going to say it's got to be first or second pick here of the Syndra for Toasty, because sure, we've seen a couple of other champions picked up. We saw the Seraphine come out. These are a lot of the shorter games that weren't nearly as effective. If you want to see Toasty popping off, it's going to be on that Syndra. Ooh. And that is something that Wildcard has recognized, so they're going to lock it in right off the bat, the Aphelios, as well as the Lucian Nami that is picked up here for FlyQuest. Already some spicy picks coming through.
I teased the marksman meta being different. We saw Lucian Braum yesterday, but Lucian Nami throwback to this past Worlds. It's going to be a very aggressive bot lane. Tomo and Diamond actually played this once during the split, even pre-buffs. I think it was very early on. So this is a lane that we expect the most experienced part of this team should be able to play. It's going to be Jarvan to round things out. I'm curious to see what happens in the next phase of bans, because I could see Wildcard maybe banning out a couple mid laners that they want to protect Toasty Syndra with. Yeah. Also, when you are FlyQuest, I think they're going to take away some supports or over on the side of Pocus, who, I talked a lot about Diamond being, the big leader, the big voice in this team. That is essentially the role of Pocus with Wildcard Aces as well. He is the one that he has been trying to play in these small amateur events for about 4 years now. This is his first appearance in Proving Grounds, so a big achievement for Pocus, especially with this young roster, being able to lead them and get them here.
That's actually kind of crazy to me, not gonna lie, because Pocus has just been a great player on this team and kind of a solid rock, right? When we talk about kind of the changes that have happened over the meta in the last couple of years, just regarding jungle influence on different parts of the map, but also how much influence the bottom lane has over the early parts of the game, there's a lot more pressure on them to kind of show up, or at least to not fall behind. And Pocus has always been a player that is consistency down towards the bottom side, and also has a really good champion pool, I think, is the other side of things here. So to go up against Diamond, this is definitely one that I am excited to watch play out. We can see there the Fiora, the Tryndamere taken away here by FlyQuest to round things out. It's going to be the Ahri and the Gragas actually on the other side. I know Tryndamere has been a top pick for a lot of these players, and the Lulu is what I was wondering to go along with this Aphelios. Lulu, the Enchantresses in general have been incredibly strong, but Lulu in particular, having the Polymorph, having the Whimsy to speed things up, and honestly even just the Glitter Lance to add a little bit of slow to one of these fights to try to maintain some of them or extend the duration of the fights is coming through. So Graves as the lock in here for Philip, another player that we are going to constantly be hovering over, and the Akali is the final lock in to oppose that toasty Syndra.
Curious to see what Zamudo grabs. Zamudo could easily be an Aurelia if he wants it, or a melee Hullbreaker. I know that this is the patch where Hullbreaker was toned down a bit for ranged champions specifically. And Zamudo, we haven't even hit on this. Zamudo is actually a sub for this game. He was originally the top laner for Third Party, a team that Wildcard Aces actually knocked out in the second OQ. Zamudo, he's 17. I actually think he's a really promising top laner. I'm excited to see him play, and his Jace, something that he has played very well in the amateur circuit, that will be his answer to the Graves to round out the draft.
And this is an aggro team, if I ever saw one here, Cubby, coming out of Wildcard Aces. I mean, I talked about the fact that they're not going to hold anything back, right? This is a team, they know they have to show up today, especially going into a team like FlyQuest, that, yeah, given the 8th seeding on this, but I don't think it's necessarily indicative or representative of where this team actually really lies in the overall seeding for Academy. I'm liking what I see. The more aggressive, the more excited I get, especially for a team like this that really does go for a lot of these early plays, trying to get themselves a snowball that they can move forward for the rest of the game. Toasty got that Syndra locked in. Now Spirix is going to have to deal with that one. And I think one of the things that, when we kind of were watching the clips of Toasty, and one of the things I touched on briefly is Toasty can navigate around ganks like none other. I have seen very few players who are just capable of saying, okay, you know what, I'm a little too far forward, maybe I don't have the vision necessary to kind of round about or navigate around this gank. It doesn't matter, because they can make something happen. That and the fancy footing from him is certainly something that's going to be tested here, because Akali into this matchup is going to be a struggle at the start.
That's something that we're going to have to see. I think that as we hop into the draft on the side of FlyQuest, this is actually a team where, I kind of tease FlyQuest as being someone that scales very well. I think that one of the best examples of that, FlyQuest, throughout the regular season, they were 14-22. 8 of their wins came from Spyrax playing Victor. His Victor was 8-4. So I think it kind of shows or tells a lot about the identity of FlyQuest. This is a very different look compared to that. I know it's a different patch, but Hecarim, Akali, Lucian, Nami, you are looking to create angles and attack this backline against Wildcard Aces. And I want to see if Wildcard Aces are able to deal with it, because with the Syndra, you can buy some space for that Jace, for that Aphelios, and that's going to be how Wildcard Aces can try to absorb these engages and counterpunch.
Exactly. Yeah, you've got that kind of early game coming out of Toasty, whereas when you're looking at Aphelios, right, you want a couple items. When you're looking at the Jace, you need an item or two, and the Jarvan's going to be able to sustain them a little bit later on. But I mean, this one could go either way, and this is where we kind of love to see how this game breaks down to start. Who decides to go for any invades. If anything spicy is going to happen, it's probably going to be in game number 1, but I don't know if that will be the case here, just given that it's still a best of 3 and it is single elimination.
Right, so I love that you bring that up. Of course, much like yesterday, this is a best of 3. So if you win this match, you move into the bracket where it is a double elimination stage. If you do not, you are out of the tournament. And so this is a do or die match. And while we are teasing that FlyQuest, they have the experience advantage. They are the Academy team. We feel like they're the stronger squad. Anything can happen.
That's the case with a lot of these, especially going into a series where we haven't seen teams play up against each other for ever in general, especially given the rosters that we have for these two teams lined up. I like, the Hecarim pickup on this one too, just shows that FlyQuest is going to start this one out in a very aggressive manner. And I also kind of like where the meta has diverged in. It used to be a lot of focus on, trying to get maybe the bruisers in the top lane jacked up, trying to maybe get some pressure on the mid lane. Right now, no. It's about taking these snowballs and just forcing out mid to late game as early as possible. Both of these compositions do kind of accommodate that. However, I will say that FlyQuest is kind of looking to get that snowball rolling a little bit earlier, and it might come to be a struggle for Wildcard Aces if they're not able to sort of keep up with this FlyQuest team.
And as we look, I think that something that's interesting to me about this matchup is that for Wildcard Aces, something we haven't talked too much about yet, it is Rapid. This is someone else who has come out of the Wildcard developmental squad, and Rapid loves to play the gankers. It is 8 games on Jarvan, 7 games on Xin, and to give you some context, there's only 4 other games that they played. So he is oftentimes going to be dropping camps, trying to get up in the face and help out his laners. And we'll have to see, because he has the potential to do that in the Jarvan versus Hecarim matchup, but if those ganks do not work, he can fall behind.
Yep, and that's exactly what I was kind of, getting at. Something that is going to be a bit of a struggle here. While, yes, I guess the meta has changed, right? And these lanes can individually snowball. You do have a lot of pressure still that's going to be coming from the jungles. And I do like the Jarvan, the Xin, the Hecarim of these. You know what? You can really kind of dictate how you actually want to play through the jungle. If you do want to actually get some full clears, if you do want to go in at level 2, level 3, you have the opportunity with both of these players to do that, or both of these compositions in the Hecarim and also in the Jarvan here. So already some pokes going back and forth. We can see FlyQuest try to get into some nice little positions to get off as much damage as possible ahead of time, but Wildcard is very much aware of the way that FlyQuest likes to navigate these fights.
And right now, I do have my eyes on the jungler. I know there's some trading on the bot lane, but looks like both junglers going for a mirrored path. So full clear for Jarvan on the blue side. Hecarim's going to match. And we'll see where the first move is going to be. I think it makes sense, having this Graves top, having this very aggressive Lucian Nami bot, bringing your jungler down to answer. But I'm curious to see if Rapid can help get this Jace or this Syndra ahead in the solo lanes, because there is some gank assist in the mid lane that might be able to help Rapid get involved. That ends up being his first play.
We can see that the heal was also actually burned down there by Jeremy, so the pressure coming out of Tomo and Diamond has been enough. That's kind of the expectation with this matchup to start things out with the Lulu and the Aphelios, who are very vulnerable. You've got the dash coming out of Tomo, so you have some repositioning ability, as well as the heavy crowd control that you got to expect out of some of these nice bubbles coming out of Diamond. So I love to see Toasty already in the mid lane, though, forcing a little bit of bullying here onto Spirax, who we all know, whether you've been in the amateur scene, whether you've been in the academy scene, whether you watch pro for a long time, Spirax is a standout player and can, play against pretty much anyone. So Toasty understands this is the opportunity to really show off who he is and what he can get, and hopefully he plays it well enough to where game number 2, he's going to have to play something other than this Syndra, because recently that's all we have seen him on. No way! The flash into the first blood. Philip saw an opportunity and he took it for himself.
And Philip, I know we teased it. This is his second proving grounds. The first time he was a fill-in. He had to step in late. And I know that talking with Philip, he really wanted to prove that he has stepped up. He has improved. He kind of called his first split a disaster, but man, that's a good way to start off your second proving grounds. Get the solo kill on the top side.
And that is definitely a standout player for this team, and not necessarily something that Zamunda wants to have to deal with. Already going down, already getting set behind in his lane on experience and creep. He does have to burn that teleport right off the bat. Of course, Philip did utilize his flash on that fight, but he's okay because he's going to have the early pressure in this lane anyway.
And for the side of, Wildcard Aces, that's a big deal, having that Jace drop, because Jace, someone that, when you are going up against this aggressive comp, if you're able to connect with poke before some of these fights break out, it can be a way you can deal with this humongous engage that FlyQuest is going to have between the Hecarim, the Akali, even Lucian Nami on the back half. So if the FlyQuest are able to, set that Jace behind, it could be big for them, and that really is the goal, as UG is here again.
Yuji comes in, throws the ghost out. It is the flash forward by Zamunda to try to avoid that. A nice little hit onto Philip, but he's not going to be able to pick up the kill. It's another one going over to FlyQuest. In the meantime, on the bottom side, you get Jeremy and Pocus dealing some damage onto Diamond. Tomo comes back at the right moment, though.
Now, while that gank's going on the top side, Rapid is able to pick up some camps, but surprisingly enough, Rapid, this first clear on the Jarvan, wasn't able to get anything done, and I think this is the point of the game where Rapid's looking to change that wildcard aces. They aren't going to take that base, so they're going to look for a play on the bot side.
This is potentially a risky one. Jeremy has a flash away right at the beginning. Tomo at the start of this fight before Rapid is even able to get there is going to find one pickup. Pocus flashing away from this one. Tomo should go down. The ignite came out of Pocus, and now Diamond is going to be the next target here. Completely out of mana. One or two more autos. Rapid just needs the one, and there it is. 2 pickups in response by Wildcard.
And that's a good move from Rapid. I like that from Wildcard Aces. Unfortunately, Jeremy does drop, but still, when you have this Jarvan in the hack room, you have to look for plays. You have to try and get your lanes ahead. And that's a good instance of Rapid picking the right spot and doing that for Wildcard.
We like to see it. It was kind of scary at the beginning, and you really don't want Jeremy to fall at the beginning of that fight. That's the unfortunate side for it. Tomo and Diamond were pushed so far forward, and Rapid coming from the Krugs on the opposite side of the field there. We're going to take a look at the replay, though, as the Dragon gets started here by Wildcard.
And when Jeremy and Pocus got that wave to crash, they were setting out for a recall. But because Rapid's here, because FlyQuest are stepped up, they try and take the play. I think that Jeremy stepped in a little bit too early. Ends up going down, so not as good as it could have been, but still, that leads to the Dragon being taken by Wildcard Aces, and at least Rapid's able to find a proactive play, much needed on the bot side, especially considering how far behind Zamudo is from the solo kill from Philip, and then the first visit from UG as well.
That, and then down to the bottom side, right? Jeremy is already set pretty far behind. We're looking at 52 to 29 for the creep. A lot of extra experience going over to Tomo. He's got that extra level 5 and 4 right now, and we can see that Pocus even has the level advantage thanks to being around for that first double kill that happened down towards the bottom side, or at least 1 for Rapid, 1 for Pocus. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle, and that's definitely something that UG could take advantage of if he so chooses, especially given the fact that Philip is doing A-okay up here in this matchup against Zamundo on the top side. Still has teleport up and available, by the way, for Philip.
And UG, it actually looks like, there were some sums. Both flashes were burned by this Wildcard Academy bot side. UG has 6. Let's see if he wraps around it, if FlyQuest want to go for some form of dive, because they are very far ahead at the moment. You can see Rapid, he's here to hover, but I think that FlyQuest, if they go for this play, I feel like they have the advantage. Instead, will not look for the dive. We'll see the empty camps. Guess that Rapid could be on this side to counter, and play's going to get called off.
Probably a good one at that. Rapid had perfect positioning and initiating that, recognizing, okay, Yuji's down at the bottom. We've got eyes on him as he comes to wrap his way up. We can see as that Scuttle Crab was taken along with the first Dragon by Wildcard Aces that they are feeling comfortable. Some flashes almost back up and available. Philip, so much pressure here on the top side of the map. It is making it really difficult for Zamudo to be able to move forward and really find anything in response. So I would not be surprised if we just see Rapid and UG. I mean, pretty much a mainstay here on the bottom side of the map, given how consistent the mid laners and the top laners are on their own right now.
And that top lane deficit could lead to a Rift Herald. So we are at the 8:15 mark. Philip has crashed this wave. As you tease, Jolly still has TP. And Philip's going to use that priority to try and find Rapid, who will get the flag and drag out. Thanks for the toggle from our observers. That looked a little bit more 007 than it actually was.
It really did, yeah. I like the pinch opportunity that we can see FlyQuest setting up for themselves. And yes, he waited until the last moment for that flag and drag to come through. Nothing else burned from him. Of course, he doesn't have a flash, so that follow-up was really all that he was able to do if that was something that Yuji and Philip wanted to really commit to. Doesn't come through for them. It is going to be FlyQuest that starts up on this Rift Herald. Philip did get the recall, was able to pick up the full Eclipse already here in this game, and then teleport back to lane. So a lot of support right there for the top side.
And that's the big key to this play. The fact that he did complete that item, burned the TP back. Wildcard Aces just don't have the firepower to contest this. But Zamudo
wants to go in for it. He's going to get the pop back, but you're not going to win out on that one. The reload coming through from Philip. He just needs one auto, and he won't get taken down in response to it, thanks to those refillable potions. The ultimate burned on top of it. Man, Zamudo, he's struggling up there. Spirax, nice little dash away off of Rapid. He only takes 1 tower shot, but it's enough for Spirax to say, get the heck out of here. You don't belong quite yet, Rapid.
Spirax had flash. I think if he wanted to go for that play, he might have been able to find it, but this is something that I always credit FlyQuest for. I think that they have a really good sense of the game state and are good at making things less volatile when it fits them. That's something that not a lot of our academy teams do. FlyQuest does this very well when it comes to trading, when it comes to just taking neutrals cleanly. I think that Rift Herald was a good example. Spyrax not going in there and, risking that maybe 60-40 play. Because FlyQuest Academy, they know that they're ahead. It's a big 2.5K gold lead to this point, and I think things are going to get really concerning for Wildcard Aces in the next phase of the game, because when I look at this comp from FlyQuest, and I have Akali slightly ahead of the Syndra, I have Hecarim slightly ahead of the Jarvan. These two champions are so good at diving the backline of Wildcard Aces. It's going to be tough for them to deal with. You might see our first instance of that here.
There we go. The Ghost still hasn't even come out from Yuji. The flash away by Rapid is absolutely necessary there. It came up at the perfect time. And yeah, that gold lead, already right off the bat is a pretty big one. Nice little play by Toasty. It's going to be played back, though, by Spyrax. You got to be careful with these moves forward, especially when it comes to that Shroud being available, and somebody as aggressive as Spyrax recognizes he's got the advantage. And this is exactly what we were talking about before the game started, Cubby, right? For this composition to actually work out here for Wildcard Aces, they need to get a couple of items. They can't allow FlyQuest to snowball too heavily, and FlyQuest is already doing a great job of starting the game off in their favor to ensure that backs for Wildcard Academy are up against the wall.
And fortunately, for the side of Wildcard Aces, I mean, Jeremy, this Aphelios Lulu, it can try and be late game insurance. They do have the potential to fight front to back with Jarvan, with Syndra, trying to protect this Aphelios, but this aggressive lane from FlyQuest Academy, the fact that Rapid was only able to find one successful play bot, it's going to have consequences moving forward, these are the consequences come to fruition.
Ghost Onslaught of Shadows, that's all you need. No response even available from Toasty, who didn't have the flash up, and yet another easy pickup goes in favor of FlyQuest Academy, and that means in the meantime, looks like Tomo's going for something, uses the cleanse right off the bat to take that polymorph away. The culling comes out, it's a lot of damage, and that might mean the UG finds another opportunity for a play on the back.
All right, that's first brick. FlyQuest, the bot lane, even though it's no kills, they still take the health bars, they drop the Rift Herald. That's enough pressure to take the Dragon. And Rapid, they have to go for something at this point. Rapid's going to try this play.
Rapid goes for it, looking for an opportunity for the Cataclysm. There it is, on to Tomo. A nice little bubble in response means that Rapid is a very vulnerable spot. A beautiful polymorph, though, on to Yuji. At least provides a little bit of time and space here for Pocus and Jeremy, so it ends up being a 1-for-1. That
Spyrax
is not
here, though.
good. Spyrax is gonna flash forward. So much damage. Jeremy's the target for the one. Pocus can't do much against that. And a double kill now for Spyrax is exactly what FlyQuest needed.
And you know what? I appreciate Rapid going for that play. It's a game state that's getting out of control for Aces. It was something where, they saw Hecarim ult down, going for Dragon. Maybe an optimistic opportunity to make it work, but that's the mid lane play showing up. Spyrax, he was able to have first move against Toasty because Toasty, he was in the gray screen. So when that play extends, the Akali joins. It goes back in favor of FlyQuest. We're going to take a second look. I don't mind this from Rapid, right? Aces are down. We asked that they have to try things with this jungler. This is a good look. They were able to pick up a kill. And frankly, it's a 1-for-1 when you're behind in the game state. But because Toasty's coming out of base, because Spyrax is able to get that gank in, he knows that in the extended play, FlyQuest wins, and Spyrax, he roams, and he makes it happen.
Spyrax is sitting pretty now. That was the first kill for Spyrax, of course, because the gank previously ended up going in favor of UG4. The kill pickup here, Rapid, maybe looking for something as Spyrax gets locked down, at least just for a moment. Man, Rapid is really trying as hard as possible to make some plays out of the little bit of pressure that his players are able to provide. But right there, we're going to see Jeremy get jumped on. He's going to be able to flash away from that one. Does not have heal up and available, but that means the first tower goes down. All plates going over to FlyQuest Academy as it just hits 14 minutes.
And I actually like this from Wildcard Aces. They know that tower was doomed. They know that their bot side is really weak. At least trying to attempt to play on Philip the right idea, but hey, Philip, he sniffs it out. He has that Academy experience under his belt now in this PG. He's able to escape his Spyrax. Jeremy, he's got no flash.
That's a lot of damage. The ultimate's gonna miss, though, and Jeremy gets jumped on immediately after by Spyrax. Pocus maybe gonna find one. The glitter lamps just barely misses, though, and the sidestep will be enough. Rapid finds the Cataclysm on the backside, picks up the shutdown. Two members of FlyQuest Academy still in the wings, though. Yuji and Diamond not gonna follow up that play.
And, this game, Spyrax, I teased earlier that FlyQuest, a team that I think played scaling comps really well throughout Academy. A lot of that was built around Spyrax and his mage play, but if you didn't see Spyrax in Collegiate, he was known for his assassins. He was the Rise plus assassin player that everyone saw playing so aggressive, and him returning to this Akali, doing it in this game. This is a good look for FlyQuest, another sign of growth from this team. We knew that Spyrax could do this in Collegiate, but the fact that he's doing it in Proving Grounds now, good sign for FlyQuest here, as at the moment, Jolly, 15 minutes in, 6K gold lead for FlyQuest. I think the only way that Wildcard Aces can come back is maybe they can find a one-shot with Syndra after some Jace poke, but it's going to be so hard to set that up given the engage, given the flanking potential that FlyQuest comp has. And it just feels like because Aces weren't able to find enough plays early, FlyQuest are at the stage of the game where the map is theirs, Jolly.
Yeah, that's the struggle. That's certainly what it is feeling like, especially Yuji being absolutely everywhere he needs to be. Same thing can be said about Spyrax now, especially after that double kill play towards the bottom side of the map. And 16 minutes in, that big of a gold lead is huge. Tomo's going to pull out the culling here. Jeremy gets a bit of shielding, of course, that E from Pocus, so doesn't end up going down. But you're absolutely right here, Cubby. This is where FlyQuest just kind of gets to dictate how this map is played out from here on out, and the responses need to come through from Wildcard. But when your backs are already up against the wall here, when you don't have the speed of these plays that FlyQuest does, it makes it almost impossible. Out comes the tidal wave, and a bubble to follow it up. Beautifully done by Diamond to ensure that Rapid does not get a play on that, and burned Flash on top of it.
And I mean, the big thing for FlyQuest is they had Philip win on the top side on his own. Keep in mind, Yuji was originally pathing bot, and that just enabled Tomo Diamond to play so aggressive. They were able to win that lane too, so it's both sides winning. Spyrax picked up kills in the mid game. Everyone on FlyQuest is ahead, and now Wildcard Aces, I mean, it's big trouble for them. They might be better off when it comes to 5 items, but I don't think FlyQuest is going to allow them to get there, and it really feels like this game won. I like how we saw a nice mix of control from FlyQuest, but also we have seen some members stepping up. Is now Toasty.
Oh my god! No, that's unfair, Philip. That's so rude. Bullying Toasty. He tried everything he could, but it still wasn't enough.
I appreciate the look, but that's a big Graves, man. He was sitting 2-0-1, and they're trying to take down this Graves. Wildcard Aces, can they avenge their 16-year-old mid laner?
They should be able to, especially with the polymorph available. Out comes the Cataclysm, and it's a big shutdown, but in response, Yuji comes in. The polymorph does apply to him, but it's not enough time for Rapid to get the heck out of dodge. Spyrax just going to be able to re-engage on this one, no problem. Rapid already having used all of his summoners and his ultimate. Another double kill for Spyrax, who's sitting at 5-1-1.
I think Rapid squeezed in a couple emote spams there. He knew his fate is. Oh
my
what?
God. This is just rude. This is rude, Cubby. FlyQuest is just flexing all over Wildcard Aces right now, and it's certainly feeling kind of like the demise here in game number 1. Now Toasty up against 3 separate members. It doesn't matter that there is a tower there. A nice little flash away from Toasty is going to ensure he doesn't go down here, but the tower does.
I haven't seen Nami Lucian in a while, and I guess I forgot how much the spike is between Mandate and with how accelerated Tomo is at the moment.
Yeah.
Man, game 1, we saw Aces, get a few pieces that they like, and I just think that this game, Jolly, when it comes to the next one, I almost want to see Aces Rapid try and find some more early plays. I feel like that could be the best way to take down FlyQuest, because we kind of saw Philip, fortunately, was able to win out his lane on his own. Rapid had some nice efforts to set bot behind, but just wasn't enough with this Lucian Nami. And it feels like because of that, Aces really didn't have an answer.
Yeah, and I would like to see a little bit more survivability in the kit, not gonna lie as well. When you've got somebody like Philip on the Graves and you're kind of picking in response to that, you know that he's going to have the lifesteal, right? He's also got the assassination abilities, and then you've got Spyrax, who's got the Shroud. They have these opportunities on the side of FlyQuest to escape from fights if they need to. Of course, not that they need to, they're able to utilize now all of this extra speed that they have to just initiate these fights, and that's the problem for Wildcard right now, is they cannot get out. There's absolutely no way, unless you've got a flash available, which, as you can see, they have been burned over and over and over again. Then it really is a struggle to just try to find initiations, but also detach yourself from these fights. So FlyQuest taking advantage of every single second. The next dragon is going to come up, of course, here. Wild Growth goes on to Pocus, who is getting hit by Philip. A nice little pop-up there with the flag and drag by Rapid is going to ensure that they all stay alive and they take down that big raid boss.
Hey, you know what? This is a good play from Wildcard Aces. I know they're really far behind. I know it's been a tough game, but this is the right way to play from behind. If you aren't going to contest that dragon, go pick off a member, overload the other side of the map, take someone down. Good read from Aces. Nice pick up there.
That next dragon is going to be taken here. That's going to be the second one in the overall for FlyQuest Academy, the third one in the game. The next couple of seconds, a Baron is going to spawn, and as we can see, the pressure is 110% in favor of FlyQuest, and we already talked about them kind of navigating or writing the script really for this game, and the response has to come through from the rest of Wildcard. So much damage. Tomo could have just angled that culling a little farther to right. It would have been at least one kill pickup. But when you have 4 members defending an inhibitor tower against 2 players here, and 2 of the less fed players, you don't feel good if you're Wildcard Aces. That means Zamundo is at least going to pick up a tower in response in this top play. But Philip and Yuji, who have the speed, are on the run. Zamundo doesn't have the blast cone to get over the wall here, and Philip is going to pick that one up.
And Rapid, meanwhile, off screen, headed for the hills. I think Tomo Diamond got the best of him, and Diamond,
No! It's just rude. This is all I can say constantly.
You know what? Rapid couldn't surf that wave. I think he got the best of him.
Hey, you know what? That's a hard one to do if you're Jarvan. That's a lot of armor, okay? You can't balance yourself on a surfboard with that kind of a situation, and especially now, given the fact that Rapid's down. FlyQuest says, excellent, let's pick up a few of these camps here in the enemy jungle, make our way over to the Baron, and just a minute after it spawns, this should be an easy pickup. They don't even need to commit all 5 members to this play because they know the Wildcard cannot safely leave their bases right now.
Yeah, Diamond might have fallen, but that's the jungler down, so FlyQuest riding the wave. They have the numbers advantage, going to take this purple worm, and really, I mean, FlyQuest just continuing to take the right steps to try and make sure this game goes cleanly. As Zamudo TPing, honestly, I could see that. You know, you have numbers. Diamond's not yet on the map, but not quite there soon enough to stop the bases and Aces. This is where things are going to get tough. I think FlyQuest are at the point where they can reasonably look to end on this Baron push, and we'll see if FlyQuest have a proper deploy, because Aces, they're on the map first, and Tomo, he actually has to be careful here. Nice.
Ooh, there we go. Tomo has to get out of this one. Rapid gets jumped on, though. You throw the Cataclysm around the rest of the team. Spyrax has the teleport to go back in. That Cataclysm should have provided enough space for everybody to get out. A nice little scat of the week on top of it from Toasty, but Yuji has the Ghost activated. They're going to leave it at that, though, and just continue to pressure mid with these Baron-empowered minions.
Once again, Aces, I know it's a pretty disastrous game at this point. I think that's an okay look from Rapid. They at least got the flash out of Tomo, so maybe that's something they could punish after. It's Toasty.
There we go. That's what we like to see. These big plays from Toasty. They might be a little bit late, but are they too late? We'll have to find out here. It's still over 10,000 gold in favor of FlyQuest Academy right now, and with the amount of gold that they're going to be able to gain off of this Baron play, it's looking worse and worse for Wildcard, but they're not out of it yet, Cubby.
FlyQuest, you know, getting picked off a little bit. A lot of single target damage on Toasty. The second time the Nami's gone down. Like seeing Wildcard Aces focus up on that. So going to be a tough one. We can see FlyQuest, even without the Nami, they are still able to 1-2-1 to make sure they're using Baron on all of these waves. And Ace is still sitting pretty far back on their base. It's really going to come down to Toasty. Can he find some more one-shots as Toasty? Nice hover from Pocus. He's going to protect him.
Little clear lance, a little slow onto you. Still has the polymorph available if he needs it, and also has that wild growth there. But luckily for Toasty, that was not necessary, because again, I'll continue to bring up the struggle. The speed is in favor of FlyQuest right now, and we see it right there. Zamudo's going to be able to flash a response, and a little bit of a stutter step means that he's going to get taken down with one more auto from Philip, who expends nothing but mana.
Philip having a great game, was able to create that lead on his own, the top side. He's been snowballing that for the entire game, not to mention what FlyQuest's been able to do. And that kill, that's going to mean the base gets broken. One inhibitor turret down, inhibitors to follow, as FlyQuest just taking the right steps, putting the right marks on this game. And yet another good look for an Academy team in the play-in stage here, Jolly.
A very, very good look to start this one out. We said it was going to be an uphill struggle for Wildcard. Rapid goes in. He's going to be able to flag and drag out as that wild growth hits him. The culling on the backside means that Jeremy has to flash away from this. Also utilize the heal after the ultimate is burned. And now it's just FlyQuest raining down. Out comes the tidal wave one more time. Toasty might be the next target here. Yuji goes in, takes a couple of tower shots, but it's okay with focusing out the minions and working on these Nexus turrets. Just one remaining, and you have a couple of cannons ends here. Right as the Baron expires, Pocus gets jumped on. Too much damage from Tomo. Even with the flash expended, UG recognizing this is the end of game number 1. It's all about padding the stats here, and now not a single member of FlyQuest to go down. Sparax gonna go in, deal some damage to Toasty, go on a killing spree to pick up that last one, and it is Rapid who might be able to keep this game alive with the Zamudo on the backhand side. But when it comes to 5 versus 2, FlyQuest is gonna win that every time, and now the members of Wildcard Aces just trickling out of this. They get a shutdown, they pick up UG, they pick up Spirax, but that's gonna be the end of the game. A triple kill is how Tomo does it, and in 25 definitive minutes, FlyQuest Academy take game number 1.
Yeah, 25 kills for FlyQuest too. I know coming into this, speaking with Wildcard's manager, Myra said, we're going to throw down, right? We have nothing to lose. We realize that we are already exceeding expectations getting here. I appreciate Aces going for a lot of those Hail Mary plays when they were behind, but they got behind because UG was able to farm first couple clears. Aces were only able to pull off one good play bot. Meanwhile, topside Philip, man, putting in the work, Jolly. I think Philip, real standout in that matchup.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, right off the bat, right? We're talking about the first blood. We're talking about a solo play. And at that point, too, if you're UG, you're like, excellent. Do your thing. You let me know when you need me. Otherwise, I'm going to focus on other areas. And that was specifically down towards the bottom side. And that made it really difficult because when we're talking about a FLYA who you expect to, kind of pick up towards the late game, he wasn't able to get, any kills until the very, very end of that one. In fact, Lulu was the one that actually was able to pick up those couple of kills thanks to, rapid ganking there towards the bottom side. So really, Philip, we talked about him before the game started, right? This is somebody that you're going to want to watch. We had some highlight plays from this guy, and this is the reason that we have been talking about him so much, even with the counter pick to be able to come through there for Zamudo on the side of Wildcard Aces. It really didn't make an impact there because the game was being written by FlyQuest almost from the very first minute.
Yeah, and for Philip, I know speaking with him before the game, he was kind of in the shoes of Wildcard Aces, a lot of these players a couple years back. I know he specifically was really proud. His amateur team in 2020, LBGN, 4 out of the 5 players on that team are actually in Proving Grounds. The others being Bradley, was then the mid laner Freeze, and then Meech and Trevor, who are both on Immortals AoE. So, for a lot of these players, kind of what Wildcard Aces have at the moment, that'd be like their first step towards, being in the shoes that Philip is now. Just given some experience, once again, 17-year-old top laner, first split playing in Proving Grounds, 16-year-old mid laner, first split playing in Proving Grounds. And I know that they want to prove they can compete at this level. I think they had some okay looks. I appreciated some of the Hail Mary attempts to come back with the cross maps with FlyQuest. Got the best of them in that one, and we'll see if Wildcard Aces can bring a few more aces up their sleeve for the next one.
Yeah, hopefully they've got something hidden up there. And you know what? Like I said, I would like to see a little bit more survivability, maybe just kind of lined up within the composition for the team. If you know you're going to have the speed that you do on the opposing side, if you know you're going to have some lifesteal, some sustainability yourself, you kind of need to match that a little bit. While I like the power picks that were selected here by Wildcard Aces, it wasn't quite consistent enough. It didn't quite have enough of a basis to really work off of for their win conditions here if they did end up falling behind, and that's what happened from the very early parts of this game. So we'll have to see. This is a best of 3. It is single elimination though, so that means the Wildcard Aces backs are up against the wall. It's match point for FlyQuest Academy. We are going to take a very quick break, but don't go anywhere because we have at least one more game in this and then a series to follow it up to round the day out. We'll be right back with some more Proving Grounds.